So our presentation is on what are emotions and influences on emotional expressions. So what are emotions? Emotions are typically described as things we feel. There are various types of reactions that we do to express these types of emotions, such as psychological changes, nonverbal behavior, cognitive interpretations, and verbal expressions. Psychological changes are typically what we feel in our bodies. For example, an increased heart rate when we're excited, butterflies in our stomach when we're nervous. When we're scared, we tend to feel a tightening of the chest, or an increased heart rate. Being on a roller coaster and feeling that adrenaline rush is a type of psychological change.
So another type is nonverbal behavior. Nonverbal behavior is any behavior without talking. Things like tone of voice, facial expressions, proxemics. And nonverbal behaviors are easy to see someone doing them, but they're hard to decipher what they actually mean by them. Yeah. Cognitive interpretations is the labeling on what we feel based on past experiences. For example, something we've done previous will have an effect in the future, just by how we think of it.
Verbal expressions are things we actually speak up about. For example, if a person is sad or angry, they're gonna let you know, and that can include a storyline, yelling, shouting, muttering under their breath, just anything that is typically spoken. So emotional contagion is sort of this trigger of similar emotions and behaviors one person can share to others, whether that person is directly telling you or simply just being around them. You can feel that type of energy, and it can eventually lead you to feeling what they are feeling.
So there's many influences on emotional expression. We're all born with the ability to cry, laugh, frown, and smile, but it's our upbringing that affects our emotional expressions. And the emotional expressions could also change. They could get stronger as you get older, or vice versa. And it really just depends person to person. So personality also plays a role. There's two main types of personality. Introverted, which is more shy and reserved, and extroverted, which is more outgoing, more positive emotions. No one is really on one side of each. Everyone has a little bit of both. And yeah.
So culture. Culture can affect the way we deal with our emotions in many different ways. For example, in the Hispanic culture, men are, taught up from a very young age that they eventually have to be the man of the house. So it's not proper for them to show a lot of emotion, or let it be known that they are even emotional. They just kind of have to be like this monotone type of person just because they are a man and are raised in a Hispanic culture. So gender ties in with culture. For example, again, in the Hispanic culture, women are typically known to be the crybabies. They can be very dramatic, and it's okay for them to be that way simply because they are a girl, they're women. Men, on the other hand, are not likely to show that because then they are considered weak or not even a man, quote unquote. But gender typically affects the way we express ourselves.
So social conventions and roles, as she was saying, in society in general, men seem to be more dominant and are not not supposed to show emotions, whereas females are the ones that are supposed to show emotions, cry. And other things like, and we tend to, in society, we tend to act out more than talk things out. And also social media plays a large role. With the rise of technology, there's obviously way more people talking online. And they do this because it's a lot easier and they have more confidence saying things like, I love you, through a screen or through a keyboard rather than face to face, when you have to face things like verbal expressions and nonverbals, whereas online you don't have to deal with any of that. So it makes it a lot easier. Yeah.
So an application that we chose was along the lines of paralanguage, which is a nonverbal cue of the voice and includes facial expressions, hand gestures. So the example I used was Ross from Friends. He's typically known for his infamous facial expressions and tone of voice, given any situation that he encounters. In this one episode, he walks in on Rachel and Joey, which are two of his mutual friends. He walks in on them kissing, and previous Ross was in a relationship with Rachel. So when he walks in to see this, he is completely shook, and he just kind of stands there while they kind of whittle the story. And it isn't until Rachel makes the comment to him that she understands if he, wants to act crazy on the situation. It isn't until then that Ross kind of steps back and starts saying that he is okay with it. Like, he then shows a very high-pitched voice saying, I'm fine, the whole time. He uses a lot of hand gestures, and he even contemplates as to why his voice is so high-pitched. He then questions their relationship, but he is repeatedly telling Rachel and Joey that he's fine, in this very high-pitched voice. He then invites them to dinner, and he abruptly walks out of the room after. Yes.
And then at the end, we have a short video that you can watch. We'll leave a link in the description.
Yep. And that is our project on emotions. Thank you.